Hello, this is Jader. How are you guys? Welcome. My name is Jader. I'm the founder of Black Label Closers, an organization dedicated to help people become highly effective closers in the art in science of high ticket sales. If you're a doctor, if you are a construction worker, if you are an editor, an IT guy, a warehouse operator, whatever it is that you are, I need you to understand this. In the next 3 to 5 years, or you don't need to understand it, just know that within the next 3 to 5 years, AI is going to replace 98 million jobs. AI is not going to care that you have a family. AI doesn't care that you have been in that job for 30 years. AI doesn't care that you are the best at what you do. Well, not really AI companies, right? They're there to create profits. I love AI as a tool. I just don't like it when it comes to replacing people. I have, call me old fashioned, but and you got to be careful because if you're like 25, 20, what kind of future, right? So people and companies and a lot of techies are embracing AI as the god of new times. And what's going to happen? We're a lot of people on Earth, and we need to generate the jobs. Now they keep saying that obviously with technology it replaces jobs, but it creates other types of jobs. I don't see it, but even if you're a plumber, AI is going to replace you. So what do we do when something like that? We have to adapt. We have to evolve, right? One thing that will hard to be replaced is the type of opportunities where you have human to human contact. Those type of deals. Psychologists, I don't think they're going to be easily replaced. I don't want to be, if I have a problem, an issue, and I want to go and solve that issue, I don't think I want to talk it to an AI, a robot, or what's worse, whatever it is, right? I don't want to be talking to something that doesn't have a human experience telling me how to handle my human experience, right? My human decisions. It's the same thing with money. The dominating generation or generations right now, the ones that have the purchasing power, they're not ready. And I hear a lot of young guys, young kids talking about it as young as 14 and 15, not liking the fact that they're not going to have jobs because of AI. You need to learn how to transition, and learning how to sell high ticket is going to be, look, it's remote. You can make a great substantial living. You might not know, but you might be a natural born closer, right? Because you've been in a mechanic or construction. I had a lot of people when my biggest company, I had 60 salespeople, closers. And some of the best closers came from the construction field industry. So you might be one, and you might be leaving, if you're making $70,000 a year, you might be leaving on the table $230,000 extra because you can make $300,000. So learn the skill, transition, right? All right. So we did one part. This is going to be the second part where we're going to talk about the difference between salespeople and closers. Why do I make that distinction? And I don't hear this distinction. I don't know if I'm the first one talking about this, but I haven't heard somebody else talking about it. I'm sure that somebody has said it, or there's some guru in sales. I've read a lot of books in sales. I haven't heard. I've heard the concept, and because I've learned, I have made a conclusion. Salespeople and closers are not from the same cloth. We're different, right? When you talk about the 1% of salespeople, they're not salespeople, they're closers. And we talked about in the other video, we talked about some of the main importance and differences. But when I was going to do this live today, I was like, you know what? I need to talk more about what's the difference between salespeople and closers. I believe that people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars to companies, very well known, renowned companies, who are teaching people how to be salespeople. They're not teaching people how to be closers. One of the best places to learn to be a closer, and of course not everybody has the access to this, is law school. And of course you have lawyers that are closers, real closers. And if you hear uh, uh, attorneys that are very powerful, they refer themselves as closers. All right. And in sales, it's the same thing. Attorneys sell the philosophy of a situation, right? They can change the philosophy, the perspective, so that you can either get a guy guilty or innocent, right? A lot of guilty people walk free because they have an attorney. And obviously, this is not the ideal thing, right? That guilty people walk out free. But this is the reason why money buys, good lawyers, right? Because they're buying closers, right? I knew a guy with 18 DUIs in Utah. 18 DUIs. The guy was loaded, and this guy did not do one day in jail. You know how in the third DUI, it's a felony. This guy didn't have a felony on his name. Why? Because he had a team of closers. I mean, he had to sober up at some point, right? But I'm telling you, I met the guy. Unbelievable. His attorneys, killers, right? Same thing with salespeople versus closers. So we're going to talk about that, and I want to. So today, because I'm doing this a little bit earlier than 7:00, like I usually do, I have a commitment with my wife a little bit later, so I didn't want to skip Thursday because I've skipped some Thursday. I don't want to do that today. So I want to make sure that we have a live, even if it's a bit earlier. So we're going to lose some people. But we got some people here I want to say hi to. Rose is here. She's always here. Doesn't matter what time it is. I really appreciate you, Rose. Thank you for coming. Mars is here. She's always here too. Paula's here. Paula is here as well. And Yoey as well. Thank you very much, guys, for coming. You guys are awesome. All right, a lot of women. I like that. Just kidding. My wife doesn't. I'm just kidding. All right, that was kind of weird. Anyway, so we're going to talk about this. And we are going to, let me just fix, because I always take notes. So I'm going to bring my notes to a file here so I can just, go through this process rather quick. So, guys, one thing with closers is that closers are never afraid. And what do I mean by that? I think I talked about this in the past video. Closers, the reason why closers are not afraid is because they are constantly making money. And when you make money, you stop being afraid. You stop being afraid. That's the truth, right? You stop being afraid. When you're not making money, and that's the reason why when I do the training, when I train people, I heavily train. The psychology of salespeople is very important. It has to be there. And I have to make sure that they understand that their psychology, that when they are the most desperate, that's when they have to come to their senses and start behaving the most confident. So let's say that you're blank, and it really sucks if you blank for 2 weeks, but I don't know that it's happened to me at some point. I can't remember when, but it does happen to the best. 2 weeks. Sometimes the economy just goes south or whatever, especially in 2.8. It was, the transition, it wasn't that long, but a lot of people, a lot of great salespeople or closers felt it a little bit, right? One obvious reason or distinction between closers and salespeople. This is going to be funny, and it's going to sound like it's small, but it's huge. December. Salespeople swear by the heavens above that December sucks. It's the down, month. So what do? They take off from, the 16th or maybe the 10th all the way, almost like, if I make a sale, this doesn't matter. Not me. Closers love December for two reasons. It's the end of the year. You want to make money, and you can make people understand if you have a New Year's resolution, making money is going to be, whatever it is, coaching that you're selling, right? If you're selling health, if you're selling fitness, if you're selling real estate investing, if you're selling whatever it is to improve someone's life, it's the best approach. I mean, you can really work it. And the second reason is all the competition is out. You don't have a lot of salespeople calling there, competing for the same clients because they're gone. They're on vacation. So that's a huge point, believe it or not. All right. Excellent. So I didn't have that as a point, but it just came to me, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that. I've had some of the best months in December. All right. So typically I have good time in December. When I'm not, having a vacation, a family vacation or whatever. All right. All right. Let's go with the number one. Fake empathy. This is huge, guys. And here's the reason why I believe that big names in the industry of training people, charging $12,000, $10,000, $5,000, whatever it is that they sell, I believe that a lot of these companies are training people to become salespeople. And the problem with this is, and I guess it's not their fault, is that, one part of it is their fault, and the other part is not. What's their fault is that they're training people to become salespeople, right? To say the same silly things, to apologize in every single part, that you need to apologize, or express empathy. And the way they teach empathy is so backwards. Empathy is not saying sorry, right? If you do something that you have the responsibility for having a negative result, and you did it, right? Why would I say, empathize with you? Okay? Because instead of empathizing, that's sympathizing, right? I don't want to show you sympathy. I want to show you true empathy. I want to make sure that you learn from your mistake, and I'm going to make you see the points that you're wrong, right? It's kind of like a mom. If your mother, how many, back in the day, of course, that doesn't happen. Sometimes you get your butt whooped by your mom, right? She whooped your ass, right? Because you did something wrong. Let's say that you stole something when you're a little kid, you're 5 years old, and you steal something. And instead of your mom saying that's wrong, you need to go and making you get embarrassed, be embarrassed by setting you back and asking for forgiveness, turning back the candy or the chocolate, whatever it is that you stole. She's like, "Oh, you were hungry. I'm so sorry." And she shows that fake empathy. Guess what? You're going to be a thief. You're going to be you're not going to be a good company by the time you grow up, right? So fake empathy is not the trait of a closer. A salesperson is going to say the same thing that he paid $12,000 because somebody told him, you got to say this, right? You got to say this because you got to show empathy. No, don't say, for instance, and this is one of my classics. Everybody that remembers this, everybody that I have trained understands this. When someone tells me that they lost money in investing, I don't say sorry. I smile. I say, "Welcome to the club. You're in the right direction. You're on the right road, right? This is the way that you get there. The only problem is, how much do you consider being scammed or having lost money so that you don't accomplish your goals? It happens. And you know what? You want to know something? You're going to keep losing money. So if you want to be in this game, it's like being a gambler. That's what it is, right? If you go to Vegas and you want to make $50 million, you know you're going to have to play a lot of games. If you think you're not going to lose a game, you're stupid. You shouldn't be in Vegas, playing games, card games, right? The first one, you might lose the first one. The second one, right? You might lose $20,000 here. You might lose $5,000 there. But if you stay to it and you up your game and you make your game perfect, now you're going to start winning and you're going to start collecting more money. Now, here's what I tell them. If you make more money than you lose, you're going to be always on top. But if you're afraid and you quit in your first game and you want to make $50 million in Vegas and you just quit in your first game because you lost, then you were not really serious about making $50 million. It's the same way that money works. So I didn't say sorry. I just said, I don't, it's not a sob story. You're on a good trajectory here. This is the right way to go, right? So think about that, because fake empathy is not true. It's not good. And you have all these guys that have been trained by the same company that sells millions of dollars to, the demographic that wants to learn how to sell high ticket. And everyone is calling these customers saying the same exact thing, sounding like a script, right? Obviously, you're going to have some people there that even though they went through training, they have something different in them that can help them change. Even though if they pay the $12,000, they learned not the most convenient way to sell, but they're going to clean their act up because they have something, right? Some people innately have a closer in them. Some of them, right? Most people need to be taught. Another part, I'll give you another example of fake empathy, or the right empathy, right? That closers would exercise or work with. I had a setter that had a lady that was very interested in making money through real estate investing. And the setter was going well until she said, you know what? I lost my son. So I lost my son about a year ago or 6 months ago, whatever. I don't think that I have what it takes to do this. So he called me right away, and she said, yeah, I'll take the call. This is when I was closing. And he said, yeah, I'll talk to him, but I don't think that I have the mental capacity right now or capability to be able to make this work, because my son, I'm still in pain. He told me that. I didn't rip him a new one. He knew better. And one of the things he said is like, Jader, I don't have the audacity to say that to someone. I'll show you what I said. And I said it to her. And we ended up closing her, by the way. And this is going to be gold, guys. Like, seriously, people would charge you like $10,000 for what I'm about to teach you, all right? And the guy's like, I don't have the audacity. That's audacious. Not only audacious, but disrespectful. I mean, what's disrespectful? So here's what happened. So the guy said, you know what? I understand. Talk to my senior director. I can't remember exactly why he set it up, but he set me up with her. I got on the phone with her, and same thing came out. My son just passed away. Instead of me saying, yeah, I understand the pain that you're going through, what I said to her is like, I said, I can't remember her name, so I'm going to, and I wouldn't say her name anyway. So let's say her name is Janet. I said, Janet, I can't understand what you're going through. I haven't lost a son. And parents are supposed to bury their kids, not the other way around. And you must be going through a lot. But you have two options here. You have the option to keep denying the biggest, keep denying your son wherever he is at right now, because I'm sure that somewhere, any place, wherever he is right now, he's wishing for you to choose life, to be prosperous. Do you understand? He was killed by a drunk driver. Do you understand how much good you can make if you have enough resources to start a foundation in your son's name to save lives, to expand that pain that you have and turn it into inspiration. Do you understand how much power you have with the story that you have, instead of being cooked up in your apartment or house, suffering and not getting over? You're not going to get over your son, but at least you got to get over the morning, right? And embrace his name, embrace his existence, and have his passing become something honorable in the world. Anyway, she started to cry. She cried, and she said, "Jada, at the end, she was thanking me for having shared that with her, and she invested." Now, when she made the investment, obviously, I always make sure that I work for the right companies, ethical companies, and I especially said to the fulfillment team, who part of the fulfillment team was the owner of the company, and I said, "Listen, man, we got to make sure that I didn't just say that to manipulate someone into giving us money. We need to make sure that, because this power to be able to convince people and persuade people is a huge responsibility. You got to be responsible. Got to be responsible, because you can take money from people. I don't want to prey on somebody's pain like that to be able to get paid. It's not, that's wow, right? But the whole point is, what's empathy? Is agreeing with their pain, or agreeing with their with their conquering of that pain, right? Their fear, whatever it is. So think about that, guys, because that what I just told you is huge, huge. All right, let's look at the next point. Next point: too much formality. Yeah, salespeople sound like they are. I don't think it's all salespeople. Remember, I'm making a distinction here between salespeople and closers. I don't think a lot of good salespeople who are at the verge of becoming closers, because you have to go through that process. But formality, like if you call someone, have someone and his name is Robert Smith, I'm not going to say, "Hey, Mr. Smith." I'm not going to say that. He put his name there. He said, "Bob Smith." I'm going to call Robert. I wouldn't call him Bob. If he didn't put the name as Bob, I would call him Robert. "Hey, Robert, how are you?" Right? Or, "Hey, Robert, this is Jader or John or whatever, right? I'm here to, giving you a call, following up with the interest that you have in making money," or whatever it is, right? Don't go with Mr. Don't, all right? Because even if you're a seller, don't do it. We're not. If he's a doctor or a rocket science, he is that in that space. He's entering our space. So he's got to be more respectful of our space. This is the reason why it's important that you educate your customer, your prospect. They need to be educated on the fact that they're the ones that need something, that they are looking for a solution. And the more we bend over backwards for them, the less they're going to trust you. Think about that. Sit and think about that for a second. All right. So formality, drop it a little bit. Be professional, but don't be extra formal. You sound like a nerd, like a financial nerd. You don't want to sound like a financial nerd. You want to sound like a Wall Street guy with empathy. Remember, always put that in the mix. Okay. Four, afraid of genuine takeaway. What's a takeaway, guys? And this is a whole class of its own, a whole dimension. Takeaway, it's so important. Takeaways when you need to kind of shake people out of the deal, when they think it's all on me and I have the control of what's going to happen at the end, and then you take that control back. One thing is having control of the conversation. Another thing is having control of the decision that's going to take place during that call. You have to have control of the call and have control of the decision. If they feel they have control of that decision, because sometimes it happens to closers, and then you recognize that, then you have to take it back out. Like, I'll give you an example of one of my latest closes. So I kept asking the guy. I think I explained this in the other part one, but I'm going to explain it again. I kept asking the guy about his commitments and how much he needed to sacrifice. I kept going back to that, and he kept telling me that he's not willing to sacrifice whatever it takes. Now, when you're talking to someone and you say whatever it takes, you have to also throw in the mix as long as it's reasonable and honest, right? But whatever it takes. And he wouldn't budge. He would not accept that he needed to do whatever it takes until I said, he kept saying that, and I think he was doing it on purpose. At that point, I said, in my mind, I said, okay, I don't have this guy. I don't have him. He somehow found his way to slip away. Because you have to understand that if you've been trained to be a closer, they have been trained to be customers, right? The more experience they have in life, they know how to say no without saying no, right? And I said, I got to do something drastic here. And this is where I train people. If you're going to throw a takeaway, be sure that you know you're going to face it if you have to. You have to make it happen. Don't throw away the takeaways where they can catch you on the lie, that you're just tricking them. It's a real takeaway. So I did a real takeaway, and I asked him, have you thought about that you might not be cut out for this? And he got ticked off. He got ticked off. And he started arguing, like sending me, and then at some point I said, well, it's okay. I respect that. If you're not ready, because we're going to ask for sacrifices. And I went right to the jugular. I said, everybody's willing to sacrifice work. Everybody works hard. Everybody does. But most people who work hard do not make money. What I'm trying to say is, it's fine if you're not willing to sacrifice. I respect that. And at that point, it rained on him. And he realized, oh, he's disqualifying me. I'm not. He's turning me down. And then he started using an apologetic tone with me. And boom, closed him, right? So, because I was not afraid to do a takeaway. You have no idea how afraid, even when I've seen mock calls where the recipient of that mock call, the guy who's doing the interview, doing the mock call, turns the guy down because the guy does a huge takeaway and he cannot believe that in sales you can do that and it works. But they don't know because they have been trained by salespeople, not closers. All right, almost there, almost home. 5, rushing to talk about the benefits of the product or service. 80% of whatever you sell intangible with a high ticket, with a price tag, expensive price tag, you have to spend 80% of your time on the psychology, not the technical information. The technical information is not even needed. I've closed deals just talking in the psychological section. Here's the reason why the technical, if you don't want to make it important, it's not important. Because the technical information is like if somebody tells me up front the call, in the front of the call, you know what, Jaden, and this happens, from time to time. I know you want to know these questions and stuff. I get it, but why don't you just explain to me the technical information, especially when I'm setting myself to close? Yeah, I just want to know the technical information. I don't care about. I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do? You want me to give you a bunch of information that you're not going to understand, or are you expecting that I'm going to give you the one nugget that will make you millions of dollars? It's not going to happen. The technical information is the least important. The most important thing for you and me to work together, and finally us teaming up with you, is knowing if you're the right person for us. If you have the same philosophy, if you believe that ethics, that respect, and that being an exceptional business person out there, being fair to others and being aggressive at the same time, it's something that you share with us. And I'm not just going to I'm not going to bend over backwards to give you information, because guess what? I'm not here. It's like if I come to your office and I tell you how to do, I dictate how you do your job. You're just going to tell me you're not an expert on how I do my job. So I appreciate that if you come into our territory, you got to abide to our rules, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to build your territory, but you're walking into ours. So we have certain structure. Do you want to continue with this call? You see why salespeople are afraid of doing that? A closer is not afraid. When you say something with certainty, with confidence, and you let people know, I'm not playing games here and you're not going to dictate this, they'll respect you, because now it's like, oh, these people have principles. If in automatically in the back of their mind, they're putting themselves in the future, oh, these people have what it takes. This is what I can do with people like this, right? Do I have people hang up on me? No, not really, honestly. But if you're going to fake it, you can do it. You have to do it with confidence, right? All right, guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, learned a ton. This is a lot of information, guys, that I want to share with you. This is something that nobody's going to teach other. I mean, very, very few people, all right? I swear, very few people, all right? So I wanted to share that with you guys. Again, my name is Jader. I'm the founder of Black Label Closers, an organization dedicated to helping people become highly effective in the art of high-ticket sales. You can find us at www.blacklabel-closers.com. You can come to YouTube, Black Label Closers, every Tuesday and Thursday. 90% of the time, it's going to be at 7 o'clock, right? If I have an exception, we'll communicate. You can go to Facebook as well, Black Label Closers. You can sign up for school, SKOOL.com. You can ask questions. You can sign up for a $97 course. You can sign up for the free course. First of all, ask questions. I'll help you out. I'll guide you. Sign up for the $97 course. The $97 course is $1,000 worth of information down to $97. All right, that's how it works. Or you can be a partner and you can sign up for the partnership program. We'll split 50-50. All right. I want to say farewell to Yowie, Paula, Rose, Mars, Venture to Excel. Thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you on Tuesday, 7 p.m. All right. Take care.